Good morning and welcome to what is the virtual zone this morning. I'm really sad not to be in person with you guys this week, but I know that I'm really excited about this platform so that we can still stay connected as a church family and as a zone family together. I want to tell you guys a story today about a time where we see a son who finds himself in a time of trouble and he doesn't know if he's going to be forgiven. And I know that we've all been there before. So in just a second, I want you to stop the video and talk to each other about a time where you have found yourself in trouble, not sure if you would be forgiven or not. So go ahead and pause the video right now and talk about that with each other. Awesome. So the story today, we see Jesus talking to some religious leaders, and he's telling them what's called a parable. A parable is a short story to tell a little bit more about God, who he is, his character, and how he interacts with us. So the parable that we're going to be talking about today and next week is the parable of the prodigal son. I'm going to tell it in two parts. Part one this week, leave you on a cliffhanger, and part two next week. So let's get started with our story today. We're in Luke chapter 15, verse number 12. It's on a farm with a father and two sons. And the son, the younger son, he comes up to his dad and he says, "Hey dad, I think I want all my inheritance. I want your money because I'm going to move away and live my own life." How do you think the dad felt about that? Probably sad, probably upset, but you know what? He gave his son the money. And the son took the money and he ran away to a far off city where he lived a crazy life. And he spent all of the money that he had. He was so poor that he had to go to work at a pig farm. And he found himself so poor and so hungry that he actually desired the pig's food. That's pretty gross. I wouldn't ever want to eat pig food, would you? So he's feeding the pigs and he's working on this pig farm and he decides, I think I miss home. I would miss home in that time. So he decides in verses 18 and 19 that he wants to go home. And I can only imagine that on this walk back home, he's probably worried. He doesn't know how his dad is going to receive him. He doesn't know if his dad is going to want to see him again, but he walks home. And in verse 20, we see something really, really cool. We don't see a dad that's angry or a dad that's upset. What verse 20 tells us is that when the dad sees his son far off, he runs to him. He runs to him and he wraps his son up in a hug, gives him a kiss on the cheek, and he brings his son back home. He brings him inside and he says, "Servants, get my robe, get my rings, and put them on my son because he is home." He says, "Servants, go get the fattened calf and kill them so we may have a feast. Let's have a party because my son is here and I'm excited." That's part one of our story today. But what's really cool is that story tells us about how God loves us. Not just a farmer and his son, but that story tells us that when we mess up and we get in trouble, if we run back to God, he gives us a huge hug. He kisses us on the cheek and he says, "My child, I'm so excited that you're home." That's a really cool story for us. So next week, we'll talk about how his older brother reacted to his coming home. So make sure you tune in next week. But until then, I want you guys to scroll down and look at those review questions together. Talk about them as a family and take some time to pray together, and just like we do in the zone. Until next week, we'll see you then. Bye, guys.